Hello friends, James Stevenson back with a follow-up video fact-checking myself based on a grievance filed by Fly4Dat, unhappy with how I paraphrased his beliefs from last year. So I dive into, in this video, some more research that I did into what Fly4Dat really believed Tesla's deliveries growth prospects would be for the future as of last year. And I limited myself to only 2022 and forward. I think September of 2022 and forward, so less than a year-old beliefs from Fly4Dat in this video. Of course, I'm going to check in with Loki, who has hidden himself behind a pile of blankies. Probably he'll just keep sleeping over there. So what are we talking about? Well, here is how I characterized Fly4Dat's beliefs 9 months ago, claiming Tesla would never report record quarterly deliveries again after Q3 2022. And then I say in parentheses here, read up the thread to see what I'm paraphrasing those beliefs based on. Since then, Q4 was an all-time record, Q1 was an all-time record. Guess what Q2 2023 is going to be? It'll also be an all-time record. He did ask me to update him. Here's the chart if you want to see what the actuals were for Q3, Q4, and Q1. Each a new all-time record following the Q2 that was impacted by Shanghai lockdowns last year. Let me close out of this and just show you what I mean here. This is the tweet that I'm referencing directly with the retweet. Fill in the number for me that makes the average of Q2 and Q3 to be the same or fewer than Q1 or 21 Q4. Your turn, fill in Q4 and 23 Q1, which I took to mean Q4 and 23 Q1 will both be lower than Q3 will be. It isn't explicitly stated here, but I'm not sure what else Fly4Dat could have meant at the time. Let's go ahead and click through, though, and scroll up to see the start of this thread, where Fly4Dat tweeted, China has collapsed. Europe is about to collapse. So how is it going in the US? Retweeting past the Beano, who blocks me on Twitter, so I can't show you what this tweet was. But my response was, collapse? China, Europe, the US, every major market has collapsed? How much of a collapse are you projecting exactly, Fly? I took the liberty of preparing this chart for you. So at the time, Q3 hadn't happened yet, so the most recent actuals were Q1 and Q2. Now we know that each of the next 3 quarters were records, all-time records. We didn't know that at the time. So that's the context for Fly4Dat saying, yeah, Q3 will be higher, but it'll be the average of Q2 and Q3 lower than Q1. So he's saying, hey, look how low Q2 was, look how high Q1 was. It'll be, between those. All right. So without further ado, friends, I apologize if I misrepresented Fly4Dat's beliefs, and we take allegations of impropriety seriously here at I Cannot Underscore Enough. So I have gone through, at my own personal expense and considerable investment of time, gone through to find other tweets from Fly4Dat that may better represent what his frame of reference was in response to these complaints. So this first one is the hardest slide to read. After this, they'll get easier to read if you're watching this on your phone or whatever. Fly4Dat, incensed at being misrepresented, said, this is what I Cannot Underscore Enough claims I said. This is what I actually said. It's not to mean that there is not a single honest Tesla bull. It's just that James ain't one of them. All right, so I'm not an honest bull because I didn't fairly represent what Fly4Dat believed. He tweeted about it here too, as well. This is what I said. This is what James claims I said. Never again with the record quarterly deliveries, right? And here's one more. Any bear predicting 0 or slightly negative deliveries was much closer than James, but for some reason he uses his 160,000 follower count to mock people with falsified quotes for no apparent reason. All right, so enough with the complaints. Let's go find some other. Well, we saw this one already. This is the one that was the top of the thread that I was replying to, in which he replied, and that's what I retweeted. What's the next one here? I've put these in chronological order, so you can see this first one was from September 24th of 2022. The rest of these are even more recent than that. So here's December 10th, 2022, Don Barbone asking, Tesla's almost at a run rate of 500,000 per quarter, and there are a few hundred cars available for immediate delivery? Shocking, when Fly4Dat said inventory levels were rising. Fly said, you'll never see a 500,000 a quarter. How's your Beyond shares doing? Mine's great, thanks, I'm short. So I guess he's shorting Beyond meat. But yeah, you'll never see a 500,000 quarter. All right, so that's not the same thing as saying there will never be a record quarter. Let's keep going. Now we're to December 15th. How ironic it is, and will be, that at the peak, what's a peak? A peak is the highest point. Tesla will have fallen just short of 420,000 deliveries, but never will have reached it. Never is a long time, Fly4Dat. So I have no other possible interpretation for this besides Fly4Dat tweeting that Tesla would never deliver more than 420,000 vehicles in a quarter. Now, maybe he thinks that I'm misquoting him. Here's the path. I've supplied the path to this tweet. Fly4Dat does not delete old tweets, so I think you'll be able to still find this one. If not, we have the screenshot and this video to preserve what he tweeted. What's the next one here? December 31st, Tesla sells all the cars it can make. Archive this along with 2022. Growth is over. Well, what does growth is over mean? I think growth is over means Tesla will never report a quarter with more deliveries than they've reported to date. Price cuts are the only way to keep demand at level. Forget growth. Okay, so throw growth out. Growth isn't going to happen. What will happen if growth doesn't happen? My interpretation is that Tesla will never have another record quarterly deliveries again. If the growth is over, and if we have to forget growth, because price cuts are the only way to keep demand at level, right? So that's that tweet. Let's see what else we have here. Here's one from James Catt. Q1 production should be 500,000. They're going into Q1 with 70,000 inventory vehicles. They're going to need to move a lot of metal in these next 3 months. Plenty of opportunity to grow beyond 50% year over year. Q1 2022 deliveries of 310,000, but it's going to take a stable China and a very strong US and EU. Fly4Dat replied Q1 will be less than 350,000 deliveries. I don't know of another way to interpret that except to say what it says. Q1 will be less than 350,000 deliveries on January 2nd of this year, is what Fly4Dat tweeted. James Catt says they will cut prices before that ever happens. Fly4Dat responds, still. So the excuse that the prices were cut doesn't hold water here, because Fly4Dat is telling James Catt in this tweet, still, it doesn't matter if Tesla cuts prices. They won't do more than 350,000 deliveries. If not, price cuts will be in excess of 15%, if not 20%, wiping out all profits. All right, so if Tesla cuts prices, there will be no profit, is what this says here from Fly4Dat. That's my interpretation of it. You may interpret it differently. I'm certain Fly4Dat will interpret these tweets differently with the benefit of hindsight today. After many, many years of predicting that Tesla's growth story was over and that bankruptcy is imminent and being wrong, Fly4Dat is used to moving the goalposts. All right, so let's do a reality check. What actually happened in Q1 of 2023? Well, I've circled the relevant number here. This was Tesla reporting more than 420,000 deliveries, more than 350,000 deliveries. Not quite to 500,000 deliveries yet, but never is a long time. There may be a quarter one day when Tesla reports more than 500,000 deliveries in a single quarter. This is 36% growth year over year. Fly4Dat told us to forget growth, but 36% growth is pretty solid year over year growth. It's also sequential growth versus a Q4 when Tesla delivered 405,000 deliveries. But what about the profits? Because Fly4Dat just said, if not, price cuts will be in excess of 15%, if not 20%. We're talking about Q1 here. Wiping out all profits. So were all profits wiped out by the price cuts Tesla had to make in Q1 2023? The reality check is that Tesla made $2.7 billion in operating income in Q1 of 2023, even though reduced ASPs, lowered prices year over year, were responsible for part of the change that Tesla has reconciled in the notes here. Growth in vehicle deliveries, forget growth, growth accounted for part of the increase, and then reduced ASP year over year accounted for part of the decrease that offset it. So what's next for Fly4Dat? Here's a hint from January 26th. So after Tesla published these numbers, Fly4Dat says, a growth company that doesn't grow deliveries, doesn't grow revenues, and sees a shrinking EPS, but it's totally okay if it trades at a 50x PE, price to earnings ratio. Yep, so Fly4Dat sticking to his guns that Tesla can't grow deliveries. Stay tuned for Q2 to see if Tesla can deliver more than 422,875 vehicles, setting another new all-time record that Fly4Dat does not believe is possible. And that is my video for today. Of course, draw your own conclusions. Make your own judgments as to whether I have misrepresented Fly4Dat's beliefs about Tesla's growth prospects. I will check back in with the big blue blanket, which does have a chihuahua in it. He's just back there, curled up on the other side of Loki's spot. And with that, I will outro and say, if you've enjoyed today's video, click the like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, why not go ahead and subscribe to my channel? It's free to do either of those things. You can subscribe over here. And click the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post fresh content. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon or Twitter or here on YouTube, as my two executive producers, Kathy Hitchler and Rebellionaire.com did. And I'll see you in the next one.